This one is, well, this one can be yours.
Okay, I went ahead and started the recording so that those who are not with us can still watch and like do the DIY after. Just so everybody knows, you're gonna need a pot of water to boil, and then you're gonna need another like smaller pot that fits inside of it if you don't already have like a double boiler. If you got a double boiler, then that would be perfect for this. So I'll let you guys do that and kind of get settled for a second.
Yeah, so while everyone's getting settled, I know there's some people, especially people on the recording, who haven't met me and Jessica yet. So yeah, I feel so awkward, like both in person and on the computer. So I'm just gonna like turn it so I'm not the only one. Yeah. Okay, so I'm Molly. For those of you who don't know me, I've spent the last 5 or so years living between Greece and the Middle East, and I've recently resettled in the US the beginning of this year. It's been an interesting time to resettle, but in doing so, I'm launching a small business, you can say, Bhakti Canyon Living, as a way to sustain my humanitarian efforts and also to expand my outreach and impact through yoga and informed self-care, which has led me to also collaborating with doTERRA, which is a company I'm very much in line with in terms of their ethics and the work they do in the world. So Jessica, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Jessica. I'm at my parents' house right now, and they have a bird. So if you hear a bird in the background, that is why. His name is Charlie. He's very chatty. But I am really excited about this DIY. I started using doTERRA oils earlier this year, and initially really was interested in products like the face wash and more like tangible products, and wasn't real excited about the oils. And just through continued education, got really excited about oils and have recently been getting into DIY stuff. Molly sent me a really cute like household cleaner, and that was my first real like essential oils DIY. So we're gonna do candles and bath salts. I'm really excited about today, and I think this is good for anybody who uses oils to know how all the different options are to use them. I recently was reading about the new like cuisine set that doTERRA put out of like the Italian blend, which makes so much sense because those are all herbs. So why not just use the oil version? I'm rambling now, but I'm really excited about all the different ways that you can use oils, and DIY is just kind of like the next step for my journey, and I hope that you guys really enjoy this. The oils that we're using today are not ones I would have typically, well, the oils for the candles are not ones I would have typically originally purchased. And when we got them for this little project, I became like really obsessed with like the more like richer, earthier, like conifer smells. So now I have like a large collection. So I'm really excited for you guys to try it out. There should be 2 oils in your little purple, which by the way, these came from Betty. Thanks, Betty, for sponsoring that.
Hey, Jess, before we get into it, I want to go through the outline we made a little bit. So I'm just going to backtrack a little bit and explain a little bit of the why. So why Jessica and I feel really inspired to create our own gifts this season, and why we feel inspired to empower you guys and girls to do the same. And so I find the stats that come out around the holiday season really quite alarming, and I read them every year. And this year was the first year that I've kind of been in a place to really make sure I'm making sustainable decisions. And so I wanted to share some different stats that I have come across, because it really was a big eye-opener for me. And what I read was that between Thanksgiving and New Year's, Americans produce 25% extra trash. And what that means is that 25 million tons of garbage, or about 1 million tons per week, and of just like extra waste, which is huge. So I pulled some stats from the Stanford University article that I shared on our page recently, just because they made such a big, they were such a big shock factor for me, I should say. So if every family in the US reused just 2 feet of holiday ribbon, listen to this, Mom, the 38,000 miles of ribbon saved could tie a bow around the entire planet, which is like huge, you know? And then it says if every American family wraps just 3 presents in reused materials, it would save enough paper to cover 45,000 football fields. So not just one football field, 45,000. And the 2.65 billion Christmas cards sold each year in the US would fill a football field 10 stories high. So if we each sent one less card, made a phone call instead, we'd save 50,000 cubic yards of paper, which is huge. So what can we do? That's why we're here to, one, create some DIYs, because that is a really great way to ensure we're not only using safe products for ourselves and our family to reduce our toxic load, but we're also making much less of a dent on the environment and the earth. So what can we do? Thinking about gift wrap. So gift wrap, there's all sorts of reusable packaging and bags now. Even Walmart sells bags, which is awesome. We can also use recycled paper because, you know, kids like gift wrap, and that's part of the, you know, the festivities. So using paper that's recyclable rather than the common stuff, which actually isn't recyclable because a lot of it contains plastic and it ends up in the landfills. The next thing, rethinking how we gift gifts. How we give gifts. So thinking about, rather than things that end up like in junk piles, we can think about giving experiences, which I know is a little bit trickier with the pandemic this year, but there's still options. We can give things like books, things that have an environmental impact like reusable bags or water thermoses. We can make homemade gifts, baked goods, and of course, the gifts is something that we're focusing on today. So I just wanted to take a quick minute to kind of share those stats, which have been the inspiration for me and Jessica to really offer this and try to empower people to get creative and make things themselves this season. So are you going to start with the candles, Jessica?
We can really start with whatever you guys want to do. We might kind of like get the water boiling and do one in between because it'll take a second for this to boil and you need that to melt the wax. So we can go ahead and get that started and then do another one and then come back to this.
Perfect.
Mine's are cheap.
I'm going to just talk a little bit about candles and why it's important to make candles, but maybe we get the water started first.
Yeah, so if everyone wants to go ahead, what we're going to do is basically create our own double boiler. If you already have a double boiler, you know how this works. You put water in one pan and then you use another pan we're going to use the second one to melt the wax. So in regards to like the amount of water you want to put in there, just make sure that it's enough to when you set down your pan, it'll like fit in there, if that makes sense. Diesel.
Boiler and water.
My parents also have 2 dogs, so that was that.
Jessica, would you say like my pan, I don't know if you got like about halfway on the small one?
Yeah.
Is that, or does it need to be lower?
Yeah, no, I think that works fine. Just make sure that you have a pan that'll fit inside of that. So whichever.
No. This is the one that's going inside.
The one that's going inside, you leave empty. And
Yeah.
then the one, yeah, so the one that you're putting water in is the bigger one. And
So
yeah.
when I put this one inside, if it goes up like halfway, is that okay, or should it be more?
No, that's fine. It doesn't take much to melt the wax. Honestly, like I was really surprised when I was doing it myself how quickly and how easy it is to melt it.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to jump in real quick and talk about candles and why we chose candles. Because again, these stats have been like quite inspiring and transformational for me. And so, of course, we all love candles, especially like warm, wintry, holiday season candles. And so I really wanted to look into the safety with them, as I'm sure we were all hearing lots of things about fragrances and the damage they can cause. And so the ETA says that indoor air is on average, so of course it depends on where you're at and what your household uses. And on average, it's 5 times more polluted than the air outside, which is huge. And so the most popular candles, like what we'll see like at Bath and Body Works and all those places here in the US, they're usually paraffin wax based. And paraffin is actually quite toxic. And so it's a petroleum waste product which emits carcinogens, which we all probably know that carcinogens create quite a health risk. And so it's really important to look for candles that don't include paraffin and actually look for candles that are 100% soy or beeswax based, because a lot of companies will market, like mainstream companies will market that they're soy or beeswax, because people are starting to wake up to the health factors, especially young moms, like pregnant women and people with young babies are waking up to the risk of candles. And so these companies are selling beeswax or soy-based candles, but they'll throw the paraffin in there just because it's a cheaper product. So making sure you're finding something that's 100% beeswax, soy, or other natural products. And then the next really big thing to watch out for, sorry, my mom also has dogs. The other thing to watch out for is the wick in the candle. So you want to make sure you're never using anything with a metal wick, as that is releasing toxins and polluting the air. So those are kind of like the biggest things to look out for. Of course, Jessica and I and Betty, of course, like with our love for oils, we always recommend getting a diffuser and kind of bringing in the aroma that way. We do like candles because people like that kind of warm feeling that can really bring back memories and like childhood memories of like grandma's house and things like that. But just so everyone is aware, when you heat the oils at that high temperature, they do lose the therapeutic benefit. So of course it's safer than using chemicals, including the air, but you're not receiving the same therapeutic benefit. So that's why we still want to plug the diffuser that we like to use. But I'll let you continue now, Jess, on the next steps of the candles.
Sorry, can I ask one question?
Yeah.
We use a diffuser, but what did you say about heating the oils and they lose the therapeutic benefits?
If you use the essential oils in a candle, like we're going to today, like it's still a nice aroma. It's still much safer than using like a store-bought. And it's not to say there's no safe candles. There's lots of safe, like smaller, small businesses coming out. But when you burn them, you'll lose the therapeutic benefits of the oils that you would receive in the diffuser. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
The problem is that the heat changes the chemical compound of the oil, so it doesn't have the same capabilities to give those therapeutic benefits as before. The same problem is if you leave your oils in a hot car, it will damage the potency of the oils. So be careful of that. That's why they are in the amber bottles.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Thanks, Betty. Okay, so once the water gets to a boil, we're going to turn it down to a simmer. But while we wait for that, mine's not quite there yet. So I'm assuming that your guys' isn't either. Maybe we should jump in and do the rice sachets, because we're going to use the same oil for that. And it might be good to make sure that we don't accidentally use all of the oil in the candle and then not have any left. So you guys should all have a lovely... I've been working on my cursive. What y'all think? Okay, so you're gonna need that. And then I also cut some string and then a piece of fabric. So if you want to get out the one that says candle on it, I didn't have enough space to write that we were also going to use it for this, but I don't know if you can see. Got out my gel pen and my brown tape, made cute little labels for all of this. So there should be plenty of oil in there. This is a mixture of a couple of different things. First, it's got cedar wood, and then it's got a doTERRA new holiday scent. I believe we used the holiday piece, which it's the green one. So there's two holiday ones. There's a red one and a green one. The red one's like a more of a cinnamon smell. This one's the green one. It has all different kinds of, oh gosh, Molly and Betty, you guys probably would know better than
I
that.
need to talk about it for just a minute if it's a good time.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, go for it.
It's a good time. These are fabulous. So these are the two holiday blends. So the green one is Holiday Peace. I love them both. It's kind of hard to decide which is my favorite, but I think probably the Joy. Holiday Peace, its base is a fir oil. So it's got Siberian fir, it's got grapefruit in it, so it's got a little bit of a citrus. It's got Douglas fir, Himalayan fir, and then it's got frankincense and vetiver. Both of those, especially the vetiver, is an extremely calming oil and is used for a lot of people with anxiety and with issues of slowing the brain down. So ADD, ADHD people have often had good results with that vetiver. So the Holiday Peace is the calming oil. The firs, the pine trees with they're deep and grounding, and they're some of my most favorite of all of the oils are the fir oils.
She loves them. Which one did you
Yeah.
say?
It smells so good.
Smells so good, right?
I
And
love
then the Holiday Joy one, it smells so good. Can you hear my water boiling over? Hold on.
Well, while she's doing that, this is the most simple of the DIYs, but essentially we're just gonna dump the rice packet onto the piece of fabric, put some oil in there, and then tie it up with this string. This is something that it can go in your underwear drawer or somewhere in your dresser. The cedar wood also, Molly and I were reading about, has really cool properties for keeping insects away. So that's, I don't know many people who nowadays have insects in their underwear drawer, but mothballs and stuff like that,
Yeah, we always know that if you wanted to keep a sweater, you would put it in a cedar chest, right? Because cedar, the little pests are repelled by cedar. So that's such an amazing oil to think that it'll keep the moths and the little bugs and things away. So cedar is an amazing oil.
Also, it really helps if you take the little clear thing off of the little dram or whatever they're called, because it's way easier to get the oil out. Just be really aware of how much you're using, because we are going to use the majority of this for our candle. So when you look at it, you really only want it to go down just a little bit.
Yeah, so I wanted to mention when I was kind of preparing, there's my mom taking pictures in the background. When I was preparing and we're kind of choosing what oils to use and things, when I was researching cedarwood a little bit, I thought it was really interesting that that's kind of commonly what we've been using, I think, in the US for many generations. But I thought it was really interesting to look at different cultures and what they're using. So I looked at India, and they're actually traditionally use patchouli to protect their silks and things, which I thought was so just an interesting random fact about the different traditions using different aromas for those same purposes.
I have a question.
So you're basically gonna put the rice in there. I kind of shook up the oil a little bit around in there. Smells so good. And then you just take the string and you're gonna tie it around a few times, and then I like to make a little bow.
Sorry, how many drops of the oil am I using? I had a call.
Oh no, that's okay. I took the like clear orifice thing out of it, and so it doesn't really come out in drops when you do it that way. I just kind of like poured maybe like a quarter of what's in there into the rice, and then kind of like moved the rice around so that it really got all in the rice.
Jess, I was using a full bottle since I have full bottles. So if you're not using the little quarter dram or half dram small bottles, and you're using a full bottle, I put in 3 drops.
And there you are. Okay, my water is boiling, so whenever y'all are ready to move to the next step, maybe give me a thumbs up and let me know.
Maybe this is a good spot to talk about the other Christmas or holiday oil is called Holiday Joy. And it's got a base of wild orange in it. So it's a really uplifting oil. Wild orange has been shown to be able to help a lot of people with their anxiety levels. I use it every morning. I use it as my perfume. It's my happy oil. It's one that just helps keep my anxiety down, or sometimes when I'm sad, I will put it on. So that's the basis of the Holiday Joy oil. But then it also has Siberian fir, and then clove and cinnamon bark and cassia and nutmeg. So those are what we cook with, and we know how wonderful those all are for the Christmas or the holiday excitement, and those smells of cinnamon. And cassia is similar to cinnamon, and then nutmeg and clove, but they have fabulous therapeutic properties too. I'll talk about that in just a minute.
Yeah, thanks, Betty. I was really surprised when I ordered those and when they came in. Like, I wasn't sure if I would really care for them, but it's also so awesome that, you know, you get such a big bottle with so many drops, because when you put it in your diffuser, you know, you only need 3 or 4 drops and it lasts for so long. So compared to a candle, you get like a lot of uses out of it, which is really cool. And I also thought to myself, like, this is so, you guys are gonna all see how easy it is to make this. And now that, since they're in these mason jars, like once you burn it down, you can always just fill it back up. Just make another one. Molly, I love how crafting you guys are all over there. Y'all look so like serious. We're really
We are very serious. We're all having a hard time tying, so I wish you could see like the whole table too. Sorry. That's perfect. Yeah, thanks, Jess.
The 12-year-old's doing better than.
And of course, Lindsay, you're from Nebraska. I'm sure you know the Nebraska football game is starting, so my family's just turned on the television. So there's the background. It's fine.
also from Nebraska, but my dad is hunting right now. I'm sure we'd be in the same boat.
Jess, can I tell a little story about the cinnamon, cassia, clove, nutmeg blend?
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, there is another company, I think you've probably heard about them. There is called Young Living Oils, and they kind of began the breakthrough of using essential oils in these days. And my sister gave me my first oils, probably it's been now 25 years ago, from that company, and said, try these. And I didn't. But anyway, Young Living started a blend that they call Thieves. And Dr. Hill was working for them at the time, and then he became the owner of doTERRA and one of the founders, and he created On Guard. So Thieves and On Guard are just the same formulation, except Thieves is with a lemon base and On Guard is with a wild orange base. But the Thieves, the reason it has the name Thieves, which is amazing, is that during the bubonic plague in France, back in the 1600s, I guess, there was a group of men who were able to steal and rob during that period, and they didn't get sick. And so they were finally captured, and they made an agreement with the police at that time that they would let them, that they would go free if they would tell them how they were able to go in and steal from people who were dead with the bubonic plague and not get it themselves. It's an amazing story written up in a little book. I should pull it out again. But they did, and they gave up this recipe, and they saved their lives, and they weren't put in prison forever because they gave the formulation of what they were using to be able to protect themselves to go in to steal from people who had this terrible plague. And that's what it was. Cassia, cinnamon, nutmeg, and clove were some of the oils or the herbs that they were using, and then they would drench themselves with it, and then it gave them enough protection to go in and steal. I always thought that was an amazing story, and that's how powerful the Thieves and the On Guard is. And so I just put On Guard in my diffuser with the Holiday Joy, 4 drops of each, and now it's protective, but it just also smells so good.
I always kind of forget that you can mix other things with the blends. I always just like, oh, the blend must be perfect just the way it is, you know, but I definitely need to experiment more with mixing things together in the diffuser. I almost said humidifier there. Look at them go. I wish we could all be in person. Y'all look like you're having so much fun over there. Are those all stockings? Wow, there's so many on the wall back there.
We have lots of siblings in this family, so there's lots of stockings.
We'll give you guys like a couple more minutes here, and then maybe Lindsay and Sarah, you guys, is your water boiling? Y'all ready to go to the next step? Okay, cool.
Yeah. Mhm.
Once it gets boiling, by the way, I don't know if I already said this, make sure you turn it down to a simmer because you don't want it to like burn the wax. You want it to just be a simmer. And if your pan is starting to like evaporate the water, make sure that you add more water to it. Don't let it, I know this is probably like, duh, but just in case it needs to be said, don't let it completely go dry while it's still on the heat. Oh, Charlie. I feel like this is a good moment to show y'all Charlie because he's gonna be making his debut in this anyway in the background. Now he's gonna be quiet. What? You don't have anything to say now?
He's camera shy, Jess.
He doesn't like shiny things, so my computer probably freaks him out.
Oh, wow. Jess, I just wanted to say thank you very much for going out and finding all of our little beautiful things.
Oh yeah, my husband and I went for a hike, and I was like, oh gosh, you know, it'd be really fun to include some, since we're using the glass, you know, we could have done tin, I think is what Molly was saying. You could just like make little tin candles, but since we're using the glass, we might as well. Everyone should have like a fern and a clover. They're a little bit fragile, but yeah, that's from Northern California, from a redwood hike.
while you're waiting to go on, I'll show you the DIY that I've been making to put on things like this, to put them on tops of bottles. So I'm taking little bottles like this. I'm putting little.
Oh my gosh. Did you make that little gnome? Did you make his hat and everything?
Yeah.
You're so crafty.
Then I'm just going to say, with this holiday season, there's no place like home. No place like Nome, because we're all at Nome this year, right?
Love that. That is so cute. I wish I was crafty like that and could make things like
Well, you can put those on top of the bottles that we're making with the candles or the bath salts too. That would be fun, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
They're easy. They're simple little critters.
Well, Molly, is it all right if we go ahead and move on to the next step?
Yeah, go for it. Absolutely. It might take some time, but it's all good.
It's probably going to be something that, since there's so many of you, you might have to like do it in shifts.
Yeah.
So everybody is gonna open their wax. Be careful because I really packed the wax in there. So maybe do it like over the pot you're about to pour it in, because I really wanted everyone to get enough wax. And when it melts down, it doesn't go all the way to the top like it is when it's in this state. Hope you guys can see me okay. But, oh, my sister is fashionably late, letting her in. Hey, Catherine.
I'm a mess, sorry.
No, it's okay. Basically, all you need to do to catch up for the candles is get some water boiling, and then I can fill you in, okay?
Okay.
But, okay, so we should have our water at like a simmer right now, and you've got your pan, and you're just gonna dump the mason jar of wax, oh, well, easier said than done, into the pan. Like I said, I really packed it in there, so. Dang, I might need something to get it out of there. Oh, well, you should also have one of these popsicle sticks, and my husband drilled a little hole in it. This is a good tool. Okay. So before we move forward, I just want to make sure that everybody has the like stuff they're going to need for this. And really what you're going to need is your 100% beeswax candle wick and your popsicle stick, your mason jar, and the rest of that oil. Mary Kate, we used about 1/4 of the oil for the rice sachet, so make sure that you don't dump all of your oil in the candle. Okay, so this is gonna happen pretty quick once you do this. So just maybe have your popsicle stick, and we're just gonna rest the candle wax pan inside of the simmering water pan and then stir it. And you're gonna see it goes real fast. Hope you guys can kind of feel like it's already really getting melted. It makes me feel like I should have some Michael Bublé on in the background or something. Pretty quickly it starts to go. Make sure it goes all the way. Don't let any of it be white. You want it to be totally clear.
Molly, Jenny just dropped off some dolls and bears. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
gonna let her have-
That's nice.
She was fixing some. She's been, Yeah, she's been sick still. Anyway, I'm gonna unmute now again.
Also, just for those who are watching the recording and for you guys, my mom was really worried I was going to ruin one of her pans with this wax, and I promise, like, the wax will be so melted, and if you just wash your pan before it dries, you're not going to ruin the pan. She's like, I don't want you to ruin my nice pans. I just got new ones. I promised her that I would, that it wouldn't happen. So I know it's a little bit scary to like think about. One time I blew out a candle on her stove and the wax went everywhere, and I had to like scrape it off with a knife, and it took a long time. It's not going to be like that. This is really heated up, and we're going to make sure to clean our pan before it dries. Okay. My wax is totally melted, so I'm going to set it off to the side. It takes a while for it to dry, so don't worry about like, oh, I have to do something with it right now, because it'll stay like liquidy and runny, and it'll take a while for your candle to like turn white, so we'll be good. Oh shoot, another thing I forgot that you're gonna need for this part is that that fern, because that's gonna be our next step here. We're gonna take a fern and a clover. I kind of sent like a variety of foliage to different people, so whatever I sent you, you're welcome to use it or not use it, or use some of it and not all of it. We're just gonna place it in there and then use our popsicle stick and the melted wax to like push it along the edge. Trying to think of other things you could use.
Jessica, I just have to say that it's adorable. Like, it dried and packaged and sent so well. And the little envelope that Elmer made, like you did a really good job with that. So thank you. I'm excited to have that in the candles.
Pressed them in a book for like 2 weeks, like hoping that they would dry out enough. And then I made Elmer sit, and I was just like, figure out how to fold a piece of paper into an envelope, and it took him like an hour and a half to fold them all, but they looked so good. I was like, babe, that's perfect.
They're definitely beautiful.
Oh, well. The clovers in California are massive too. They're not like this in Kansas. Okay. Do you guys have your wax melted? Should I move on, or would you all like me to wait a little bit? How are we doing?
You're good, Lindsay. We're okay over here.
So basically the next step is going to take you guys a minute, because you really want to get the foliage totally stuck to the side of the mason jar. When you pour the hot wax in, if it's not really stuck, the foliage will kind of like float off the side and into the center and up, and that becomes a fire hazard. You don't want that foliage to ever like touch the flame. You really want it to get stuck on the side of the mason jar. So the easiest way to go about this is to really hold your mason jar and put your foliage in there, but slide it down, because the wax is only going to go up to like right here. Let me see. Like, it's not going to refill the whole mason jar in the same way that it was when I sent it to you. So position your, whichever you decide to start with first, the clover or the fern, in there. And then just kind of take your wax and like just put it on the foliage and kind of like douse it and really get it to stick to the side.
Jess, this is fun. Thank you so much. This is good.
Yeah, it is fun, and we're really like using the wax as a glue, which is really cool.
Should I have already added the oil to the wax?
Not yet.
Okay.
Wait, so Jesse, my water's boiling. So like I put
Down to a simmer. And then
okay.
get another pan and dump the mason jar of little wax beadlets into the pan that doesn't have water in it. And then set it inside of the boil or the simmering water. And use your popsicle stick to kind of stir up the wax, and it'll start melting pretty quick. So here's what one looks like for me. And then I'm gonna do the clover. I left the like little legs of the clover really long. So if you need to trim it off, like cutting this part off, you know, you can just break it off. And just remember when you place it in there, the candle is only gonna come to about, like the wax is only gonna come to about here. So really push the foliage down in there. I love how the clovers have like little, each of the leaves are little hearts. It's so cute. When I originally picked them too, one side was purple, and then when they like dried, they kind of became a little translucent and green.
Jess, can I tell you a little story about candle wicking?
What is candle wicking?
Well, the wick of the candle, right? That's the wick. So that cotton thread is what is used for candles.
Okay.
So in the early days, the colonies, in the colonists of the US, the women didn't have much to work with for creating beauty. And they created an art called candle wicking. And so they would take this string that they would use in their candles, and they would make French knots and make beautiful artwork. Or they would do all of these gorgeous French knots on their bedspreads. So I'm going to go get you a piece of what's called candle wicking, of how women took what they had thread, but they didn't have much else, and they were creative. And so they would use the thread to create this beautiful artwork. I'm going to go get a piece.
Oh, yeah. I really want you guys to like take your time with this step too. And if you need to do like a couple coats to really get it to stick, please do so, because I really want to make sure that everybody's candles have the foliage sticking to the side and not like floating into the center. Also make sure that your wax is not in a place where it's gonna be hot. You want that to start to cool off, because if the wax is too hot, it'll just burn the essential oil smell right up, and then when you light your candle, it won't have any scent. So we're kind of also using this time to let the wax cool down. Oh, Betty, you're muted. I'm sorry.
Thanks, Jess. Anyway, it was amazing how they took the wicking from the candles that they were made and made this beautiful artwork. Women are always so creative. Men are too, but women love to make their home.
Did you show it? I missed it. Oh, that's cool. Did you just go pull that off the wall somewhere in your home?
Will you talk while you're showing it so that I can see it?
Yeah. This is called candle wicking, and it's just using thread, make French knots and then make designs. And this was one that I did for my husband years and years ago. Anyway, that's candle wicking.
Wait, so okay, I'm sorry, I'm a little confused. Explain it. It's because it looks like embroidery.
Yeah, it's a form of embroidery. It's what they took their candle threads and created artwork with it, a form of embroidery called candle wicking.
Okay, I gotcha. That's really cool.
Women are very creative.
Mary Kate, how's it looking?
Life is good. I think I'm all caught up.
That was fast.
I put my heat as high as it would go, so that stuff like simmered quick.
Yeah, it doesn't take much for the wax to melt. I was telling them I'm surprised. Yeah, that looks so good.
Stella's annoying. And Charlie.
He's outside.
Where's like Nicole and Mom and
I'm here. I'm actually going to Nicole's tonight. We're having some people over and doing this like all together. I think there's like 7 more candles that need to be made.
oh, is that when Carly's coming and all of that?
Yeah.
Nice.
How's it look, Sarah? Nice. Aww. This is so fun. I wasn't sure how a virtual craft would go with everyone being in different places, but it's working out. Y'all look like you're so serious about it.
Hey, Jess.
Yes, ma'am.
I need to be leaving a little bit to go on a thing. Anyway, so after I fill this with the oil, can you just tell me the 2 or 3 steps ahead, and then I got to scat?
Yeah, so the next step is going to be to dump the rest of that oil into your candle wax, which should be around 100 degrees. So y'all should be able to stick your finger in it. If it's too hot, then you're going to burn the oil. So then after you put the oil into the wax, you're going to dump the wax into the candle here. And then you want to take, this part's a little bit tricky, but you want to take your candle wick. I hope it's not too dark, y'all can see me. You want to take your candle wick and get it as straight as possible. It came on like a roll, so it has like a little bit of a curve to it. And you want to stick it straight down in there. And then this has a little hole in it. And you're going to stick what is coming out of the candle through the hole. Here, let me move my, because I think we're done with this stove.
So smart. I was wondering how we were doing that.
Yeah, so it's gonna go like in here like this, and then if you can get it down in there straight, and then you're gonna fold the wick over, and then let it sit like that until it dries.
Well, bless Elmer for putting holes in all of our little sticks.
I know. It's like, can you make that happen? I don't want to have to buy something fancy.
So clever. Got it.
But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and do it, actually. I feel a little antsy. I'm excited about this. So move it all so you can see what I'm doing. But yeah, so you're just going to dump the oil in the wax, give it a good stir.
How much oil?
Mary Kate, you're going to leave yourself like a quarter of the oil that's in there. You could even probably use a little less. We already did the rice sachets. It is really fragrant. I might have used a lot, but I used like a quarter of what was in the little bottle. So I have like this much left.
Wait, okay. So you want me to put like leave a quarter? So use like
Yeah, leave a quarter because you just missed the first step of us doing the rest of the oil that you'll need.
I put that in the wax right now and then put it in the candle jar.
Yeah, so put it in the wax, give it a good stir. Dang it, I just dripped on Mom's stove.
Oh no.
So if I maybe use too much oil in the rice sachet, I guess the candle just won't be as smelly.
Yeah, I kind of did a lot of oil just in case. There should
Okay.
be, yeah, because the oil was not diluted at all. It didn't have any.
But also, Sarah, you have quite a few oils. So if there's something you want to throw in there, trying to think, Betty, what oils would go good with that aroma, like any woodsy,
Do you want another one?
anything that's in they want. I don't know if you have cedar wood or Siberian fir, grapefruit, Douglas fir, Himalayan, frankincense, vetiver. But you feel free to add any extras to it that you have.
Will you read them one more time?
Yeah. So the ones that are in there, we have cedar wood, Siberian fir, grapefruit, Douglas fir, Himalayan fir, frankincense, and vetiver. So if you wanted to add an oil that's already in there, those are good options. But I'm sure there's something that you have, if you don't have those, that will go in there well.
Okay.
Balance would be good if you have balance, or wild orange would be good. A citrus would be good.
Okay.
Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and rinse my mom's pan out before this wax dries, and just I'll be back in one minute here.
What are you doing?
I'm just trying to decide where's my wild orange.
I agree. I was hoping to go low-key with my Easter bonnet this year. Is this too much? Show me, Pot. I was gonna hold that up. We're not really an Easter bonnet family, but we do all the other traditions: candy baskets, egg hunts, big ham dinners, right? We do. All I remember is being off from school for a week and going to dinner, but the taco place was closed. That's all you do? Finally, a day that's marked by at my house. Wow. We just really let Easter slide. They're easy when you only have a couple of kids. So with 7, it's hard enough for mom to brush your teeth, let alone pull up a big holiday celebration.
I'm laughing at that show.
Big Easter baskets when there are only 2 kids, 4 kids, 6 kids. Am I the last kid? Oh, that's nice.
Also, just a little tip for when you rinse the pan off, if you put cold water into that pan, you're going to see the wax pretty instantly. So, which isn't a problem. You can use a washcloth to get it out, but hot water, it'll probably be a little easier.
At some point, it just got away from us.
Hi, Tyler. It smells so good. But this is what it's going to look like once y'all get the wax in there, and we're just going to let that sit and cool.
I'm sorry, Jessica. I'm a little bit distracted doing a bunch of these at once.
You're fine. I'm curious what you got going on over there. How's it going?
We're still in the foliage. But I'm curious when we're supposed to put the oils in. Did you already say that? I just don't want to mess it up because we're about to start pouring the wax in.
Yeah, so you're gonna put the oil in the pan before you pour it into the candle, but you don't want it to be too hot. So make sure that you can stick your finger in the wax, because if it's too hot, it'll burn the oil.
Okay, so I think my challenge is that I have like pots of the wax. So do you think like I should just put all the oil in for all of our, mix it?
Like you did one pot and you dumped all the wax in one pot?
We have 3 pots and 5 candles.
Did you
So make
the wax evenly between like one of
I'm
the
more worried just about like having enough oil potency, you know, like the right mixture for everybody's.
Yeah, I think if you evenly distribute the oil to wax ratio, I think you'll be okay.
Okay.
2.
But you could just put the oil in the candle and stir it. I just don't want you to touch the sides where you've got the foliage and like rip the foliage off the.
Awesome, thank you. I think we got a plan.
Betty, how's it look over there? You're muted, but that looks great.
I'm sorry. It's doing great. And actually, when my wick isn't straight, as it's drying, I can kind of make it a little straighter.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It is like really bendy and kind of hard to get straight.
Yeah, that looks terrific. Thanks so much, Jess. And if there's an issue with wax not coming off something, we all know, right, that lemon oil or wild orange oil will help dissolve any waxes or sticky things. So if you've got wax on the counter and you can't get it off, try a little lemon oil.
Wow, I guess I probably could have known that, but I didn't realize. Thank you.
Yeah, same thing with sticky labels on bottles that won't come off, right? You just put a little bit of lemon oil on a sticky label and it'll come off. I remember years ago when I worked with a plastic surgeon, and I was so impressed with the wild orange solvent that we used to remove the adhesive before we took out stitches. So we would use this natural wild orange solvent, and this was 30 years ago, to help dissolve the adhesive, and it worked really well.
That's cool. I never really use wild orange. I always go to lemon first for something like that.
Yeah, wild orange, I have bottles and bottles of it around because I use it for so many things.
So quick question, if my wick isn't, I mean at the top it looks straight, but I can tell it like does a little curve. Is that okay?
It'll be okay, but it'll burn better if it's straight. So you can stick like a knife or something down in there to kind of like push it.
I'm going to say that's the leading candidate.
Please. The fact that none of us even noticed this until now means we don't have a conversation about this car.
I would love
say that
21
might
on
be
the
a
top,
little
but
early
my job is grinding backs.
There's Brent's footprint on it is on YouTube. Be honest. Have you guys ever celebrated Easter before? You guys, I'm gonna squeeze in. Yeah, sorry. Let's go upstairs. Yeah, fine. Oh, look at your hair. Sorry. Peace be with you.
Jessica, any tips on making our wick straight? It's like when we put it in the wax, it kind of floats to the
Yeah,
side.
we were just talking about that. I used a knife and just kind of like stuck it down in there and like tried to straighten it.
Okay.
It's hard because when you try to bend the wick over the top, it like bows out. So you have to like kind of hold the bottom of the like wick underneath the
Underneath the
top and then
head? Okay.
yeah.
So
Your
she's
wax is all
recommending,
wrong.
yours looks good actually, Des. So you want the wick straight. She said to touch, like to try and straighten by grabbing it underneath the popsicle stick or using a knife. I can grab a knife. So yeah, you don't have to worry about it yet. Okay. Because you don't have wax in there. Straight. Yeah, yours looks really good, Des. Thanks, I did it. Thanks, Hopper. Do you have towels or napkins? Yeah, that's what I was looking for. But she said lemon oil will take the wax right off. We just once it dries. How long does it smell concentrating?
I read a lot of like things online about candle making, and people will attach like a little metal piece to the bottom of the wick to like get some weight, but it just didn't seem right. I feel like even if it has a little bit of curvature, that's better than a little metal piece on the bottom.
Does yours have foliage? Yeah. She has one. Okay. You have foliage? We have one extra if anybody. Which one is it? You did it or you don't? Stacey just has one in there. Oh, we can put it in Stacey's then. Oh, we need to wait for more wax though. Looks cool, huh, Stace? Want to give it to your mom for Christmas? That's a good idea. I like the size of the jars too. I do too. Like they're not too big, but they're big enough.
Yeah. What's the scents that are going in?
Cedarwood and Holiday Joy, or Holiday Peace, sorry. One of the holiday ones that's sold out.
I mean, it's December 1st and they're sold.
But that's how they market, like that's how they do it. They pump it up before and then
Everything's sold out. I mean, everywhere.
So I have to bend my wick and I have to try to keep the bottom part straight while bending the top. That's what.
We can't give up on Easter.
Yeah, so like I would kind of stick your finger underneath and then bend it to like kind of counteract the.
Remind you of last year?
Why does it look so green?
Once it starts to cool off, it goes from like a clear to a, wow, yours is already white? How'd you get it to cool off so fast? Is it cold over there? Mine's still cooling. So yeah, I don't know. Did you put the oil in there, Mary Kate? You dumped the oil in, right? It smells.
I honestly dumped like too much. Maybe that's why.
No, that's not why. You're fine. You're fine.
I tried to fix the candle wick with this knife and it was very hard to do. So.
Yeah, it's a struggle, but I'm sure it'll be all right.
And I should just cut the wick when I'm done to make sure it's like short enough.
Yeah, so once the candle is totally white, you'll be able to take the popsicle stick off and just cut the wick so that it's like maybe a ½ inch up from the top of the wax.
Okay.
Let me see what you're doing. What you got going on over there? What you looking at? Turn the camera down. What are you doing? Why do you have to do that? You're muted. You're muted, Mary Kate.
Did you hear what I said? I said that I got like it all crazy. I didn't know that the wax wasn't going to go all the way to the top. So now I'm like cleaning up the sides.
Oh, I'm sorry. You missed that little memo. That's okay, though.
Like my little fern is a little bit up above, but maybe that's cool. I don't know.
Those ferns are so cool how they're like pointy on the top and then they get really fat. Honestly, the fern itself was like this wide and this tall per leaf, and I just snipped the very tip of the fern off. I was having a hard time finding baby ferns, so I just went to the big ones and just cut the very tips of them off. Well, Betty, I know that you have to go soon. Do you want me to quickly walk you through the next step? It's just, I mean, you could probably already have put 2 and 2 together, but you should have gotten a mason jar with some Epsom salt in it as well. And you're just gonna, before you add anything, add that entire oil drum of the oil that says bath on it. This is a mixture of adaptive and peppermint. It's not equal parts like the candle. It's more adaptive than it is peppermint. And then it's got, Molly actually sent me the dilution oil, so I'm not sure what 100% what it was, but it's a little bit diluted. And you just dump this whole thing in there, and the dilution was because the peppermint can be kind of like a hot oil on your skin. So we're hoping to avoid that, and you just put it in the salt. Maybe put the lid back on, give it a good shake up the oil. And then we have an English breakfast black tea and lavender, which I did not learn how to spell until making these. I wrote out a bunch of lavenders AR. Apparently it's ER, just in case you guys are wondering. And you can kind of do this however you want. I like to do like a lavender layer and then a tea layer on top, but you can put it in there, shake it up. You can kind of go about it however you want. And it's bath salts. So when you actually use it in the bath, this is going to be more than one bath. So it might be helpful like when you use it to shake it up. But for aesthetic purposes, if you're giving it as a gift, it might be nice to like layer them and then just let them know that they need to like mix it up, or it might be intuitive. But yeah, and then I think you could probably get like 2 or 3 baths out of this mason jar. It's quite a bit of salt in there. And then yeah, it's just Epsom salt, lavender, and tea, and then the oils are adaptive, which is a lovely blend. I don't know, Betty, if you know off the top of your head all what's included in the adaptive. I did not write it down, but it has a lot of really good calming properties. And doTERRA actually came out with a bath oil, which I love. I love their bath oil. It makes my skin so soft and it smells so good, but this should smell very similar to that.
Have you've tried the adaptive oil, Jess? I bought it, but I haven't tried it yet.
I like immediately, I took a bath and like immediately ran to Elmer and I was like, feel how soft my leg is. Right, Kate, that looks so good. I can't believe yours dried so fast.
I wish that I wouldn't have gone crazy with the wax over the fern, because look at it.
That's okay. When you burn the candle, you know how the candle wax like all kind of, it'll
Yeah.
continue to change as you actually burn the candle. Aww.
Jess and Molly, I'm so sorry I have to go, but thank you very, very much. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Thank you, Betty, for being here and sharing all of your little wisdom and stories. And thank you for your service today, too.
Yeah, fun. See
Have
ya.
fun.
Bye.
Are you putting a little more in here or no?
No. Betty has signed off to go take a refugee child in Salt Lake City Christmas shopping, which I thought was really sweet of her.
Aww.
Yeah.
Well, Molly, I know you guys are like doing a lot over there with all of those lovely people. I'm gonna go ahead and just do the bath salt as well.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I wanted, if we can try to wrap up within like the next 10 minutes or so, just because I know we've been on a little bit longer and I don't know if other people have places to be.
Same thing with this. It's much easier to get the oil out of this when you're doing a whole dump if you just take the little white thing out. Such a different smell than the candle smell that we've got going on here. It's very lovely.
What's that all about?
What's what all about?
Yay.
You should have also gotten a mason jar full of Epsom salt and another little essential oils like thing that says bath on it.
You want me to just put that all in with the lavender and tea?
Well, you can kind of do it however you want, but first I would do the oil and then add it to the salt and then give it a good stir so that the salt really has those oils all mixed in. There's all kinds of benefits from both peppermint and the adaptive oil, most of which are calming. My husband Elmer takes adaptive every day in like a little capsule form, but doTERRA also has like roll-ons and then of course just the oil on its own.
I put this all in.
Dump it all in.
Can you tell me again quickly, what's the adaptive good for? Or
Adaptive is like if you've ever used ashwagandha, it's similar in properties to ashwagandha. It's like help for mood balancing and it's uplifting. It's one of those oils where it sounds really similar to like lavender, but you really need that experience to understand like how it impacts you. My husband like totally notices if he doesn't use, he takes it in a capsule, and if he doesn't take it, I'll be like, did you take that adaptive today? He gets like way more irritable and yeah, it just kind of like keeps him overall just like a better, like happier, I guess. I think it's better than ashwagandha or lavender personally. Lavender for me is like a little more like soothing, but I also really like the smell. Whereas adaptive, like I actually notice a mood change, which I'm sure many people do with lavender. It's just more powerful. The adaptive is more powerful to me. Molly, do you happen to know off the top of your head what is included in adaptive?
Let me grab the bottle just so I can say it clearly. But I know lavender, wild orange, rosemary, gum, which is not as an aroma, not an oil. But let me grab my bottle real quick.
Thank you. Okay. And then Mary Kate, I was saying that you can either like create layers with these two, or you can like mix it all in together. I think the layers are kind of pretty personally. If I can get this sucker open. Yeah. Lavender has a really intense smell too. It's kind of fun to see what lavender looks like in person too.
So when I use this, if it's in layers, then like how am I going to use this?
Yeah, before you use it, you'll definitely need to mix it up because it's not going to all go in one bath. You're going to use it for like maybe 2 or 3 baths.
Right.
Okay, so I have my bottle. It's wild orange, lavender, copaiba, which is awesome, spearmint, magnolia, rosemary, neroli, and sweet gum resin oil.
Awesome. Thank you, Molly. And then when I was trying to find something else to put in with the lavender and the oils, I was like initially looking around my house and had some tea. And I'll like read to you really quick. It's a black English tea, and I found that black tea helps to reduce inflammation, which is really cool. So like irritated muscles, or like if you have like bug bites or any reason why you would have like inflamed skin, I guess. And then the tannins, Tannins, are extremely cleansing and help to close pores. So it's really good if you have like body acne or anything like that. So kind of a cool little offhanded thing that I thought would be fun to add to this. And I've never personally taken a bath with black tea, so I'm excited to see, because it also has a pretty strong smell on its own. So it'll be fun to see how that works out.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Jess. I've seen the tea like in the baths as like a new trend, or maybe it's not new. Maybe I'm behind because I'm new to the Instagram world, but I never knew the reasons behind it. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. And I like the color of it. I think it goes really well with this. And yeah, so if you're giving it as a gift, I would let the person know that it's not just for one bath. I guess people who use Epsom salt in baths probably already know that it would be more than one, but just in case. Yeah, Mary Kate, let's see how it looks all shaken up. I'm not brave enough to shake mine yet.
You could go crazy and put it all in one bath if you really wanted to.
I guess you could. This is the truth. Let's see.
I like the layers, but I think this shaken looks really pretty.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, and you have yours as layers, Lindsay? That looks nice too. It's a large ratio of, I think, the tea and the lavender, which is cool.
This was so fun. Thank you guys for joining and doing this. I like made it by myself and was really excited to do it with other people. And I know that it might be hard to give it as a gift now that you're like, wow, all these health benefits and
myself. But yeah, I also am very grateful for everybody that came. I obviously, like I mentioned, I think, creating our own gifts is a really big way to support the environment during the holiday season, and also just reduce our toxin load. And I just feel like it's so much more, I don't know the word, but I appreciate when somebody makes me something. I feel like it adds some extra value, or
I feel like it's more personal. You didn't go and just buy something from a store that they could or could not use. You don't know. I mean, I guess they could or could not use this, but it didn't take, you put heart into it. So I feel like if someone were to give me something handmade, I would definitely use it versus just something bought at the store.
Thank you for having more English words than me at the moment. That was very well said. I've got a few distractions here at the moment, but yeah, super grateful for everybody who came. I know it's taken a little bit more time, but I hope you all have just had fun. Like, we're just hoping to connect and have fun. And I know most of you are listening to the recording, so also thank you for participating, even though you couldn't be here live. I honestly, we didn't know when offering something new, we don't know how the traction is going to be, and we 25 kits like within 48 hours, which is really exciting to me because it shows that people care about the people they're gifting, about themselves, and about the earth. So I was just really excited. And my sister says also about us, which I'm sure your family feels, Jess. But yeah, also I just wanted to mention real quick before we close, also of course we'll open up if anybody has any questions. I just wanted to mention that next Saturday we're having something a little bit unique for the Holistic Living Collective page. Is more focused on like holistic natural living, but we're doing a exploratory introduction to mindfulness and meditation and the simplicity of it. You know, so a lot of times people think of meditation as being like a big thing that they can't necessarily access. So we're offering just a 45 to 50-minute like intro workshop about how simple it is and how we can easily integrate it into our already existing life and activities like brushing our teeth or taking a shower. So if you're interested in that, let us know. We'd love to see you again next Saturday morning. And then we'll be taking some time off for the holidays and then starting the new year with a holistic kind of cleanse and restore program that addresses not only our physical body, but also our mental and emotional and spiritual energies and bodies. So if you're interested, let us know. Is there any questions or anything anybody has before we close? Or Jess, is there anything you want to add?
I don't necessarily have anything. Thank you for reminding me about the workshop next week. I'm really looking forward to doing that and participating in that, as it's something I've been accessing recently in other trainings. But yeah, just thanks again for everyone for supporting us and for purchasing these kits. There was a lot of like fun planning and things that went into this, and I just really appreciate your guys' support, and I hope that you had fun.
Can I ask a question? Can you share like where you got the supplies? You know, like the
Wax.
or you know, like the I can't even talk. The wax and the you know.
Yeah. I got.
Oops, sorry, Jess.
Oh, sorry. I think there was a little bit of a delay, and I couldn't quite hear what you were saying.
I was just going to say that we can definitely send like a follow-up email with the links to the supplies we bought and to the oils, and also, of course, happy to answer questions. And also, just so people know, Jessica made a really cool tutorial that focuses specifically on the candles. It's like 10 minutes. So if you need a refresher or want to make some more, it's available to you. So I'll send you those links as well.
Yeah, it was surprisingly easy to find supplies. I think candle making is something that a lot of people really enjoy, and you can buy like wax in bulk on Amazon. Just make sure that you specifically look for soy. And like I got the candle wicks, 100% beeswax. It came in like a big roll, and then I just kind of like cut to size each one. String and popsicle sticks, and I already had, and the foliage, you know, I went and foraged for that, but yeah. Tyler,
Thank you so much.
does it smell good?
Yes.
Y'all are taking deep inhales over there.
I love the little envelope that Elmer folded.
I know, he did such a good job.
The whole packaging was like super cute.
He's like,
Yeah.
I didn't know I was going to be doing origami.
It's like such a sweet touch and like really well done. So thank him for me. Maybe we should go ahead and stop the recording, Jess.
I'm definitely trying to make my own candles in the future. That was fun.